Let's take a closer look at adding content and building questions inside a new form. Now, keep in mind in our previous video, we talked about the difference between a new form and a new quiz in Microsoft Forms. In a new form, you are not going to have access to the grading feature, so you will not be able to assign point values to each of your questions. So a new form might be perfect if you're just building a class survey or a class poll to assess prior knowledge, or even building a student self-assessment task. Let's go ahead and create a new form. The first step is to give our form a specific title. So this is going to be about digital citizenship. And I want to survey my students to see what they remember about digital citizenship from previous grades. Now, notice that I can enter a description. I can also click on the insert image icon to insert an image along with my title. Notice that when I click on that insert image, an image search panel opens to the far right, and I can use the Bing search engine to search for an image. Possibly one of the best features of this image search is that the results by default will show images tagged with the Creative Commons license. This means that these images are free for you to use in your form or survey. So let's go ahead and select an image. Before I click add, just one more thing to notice. Notice that you can also click on OneDrive to access images from your OneDrive or even upload an image from your computer. Let's go ahead and click add to add this to our form. So now we have an image, we have a title, and we have a brief description. Let's go ahead and start adding questions and content to this survey. So to add a question, we simply click the green Add New Question. Notice that when we click that box, we have a choice of different question types, from a choice type question, multiple choice or drop down, text-based question, long or short answer, a rating question, a date question, which requires the answer be in the form of a date, and I can even click the three dots for more question options. In this particular video, we are going to focus on choice, text, and rating. We'll take a look at the other question types in our next video. So let's start by adding a choice question. So I'm just simply going to click on choice, and this adds in a multiple choice style question. I can go ahead and start entering my question in the question box. I would then enter my options below, and notice I can add more options by either clicking enter from the second option or selecting the button add option. I could even add an other option for individuals to put in their own option at the end of the question. Let's just finish adding the content to this question. If I were to click add other, this is what it would look like. And if students selected other, they would be able to then fill in the information here in the space. Now, I can always change this question from a multiple choice question to a drop-down question by simply coming over here to the three dots or the more settings. And if I click on that, notice that underneath shuffle options, I have drop-down. This will change the style of the question from a multiple choice to a drop-down list for students to choose the correct answer from. Notice that I can turn on multiple answers so that students can select multiple choices. And I can also make this a required question. Let's turn on required by clicking on the toggle switch. If my next question was going to be another multiple choice, I could simply click the copy question button up here in the top right corner. If I needed to get rid of this question, I could always click the trash can. Let's go ahead and copy this question, and we'll go ahead and change the content for this multiple choice question. For this question, I'm going to remove the other option by just simply coming over to the little trash can next to other. And we are going to turn on multiple answers so that students are able to select multiple answers from the choices below the question. Now notice that I can also rearrange the questions. So I can simply, if I wanted question number 2 to actually be question number 1, I could just simply click the up arrow. And question number 1 changes or trades places with question number 2. Now let's go ahead and add another new question, but this time a text-based question. So again, I click on the Add New button, and this time I'll select text. By default, this is set to be a short answer question. If I need it to be a long answer, I just simply toggle on the long answer switch below the question. We'll keep this as a required question, and we can go ahead and enter our question. Notice again that I can copy this style of question and then replace the wording. If I needed to, I could delete the question, and I could always move the question up. Or I could go up to question number 2 and move this question down, so I can rearrange the order of my questions in my form. Let's go ahead and click on that third question again. And this time we're going to add new, and let's add a rating question. Now, actually, before we talk about the rating question, I just want to go back to question number 3. I want to point out that you have the 3 dots again for this question. This is for accessing more settings. If I click on the 3 dots, notice that for a text-based question, I can either add in a subtitle or I can actually set restrictions. So I could change this question to be a question that requires a number as an answer. So I would set the restriction to number. Notice that I can also set restrictions that the number be greater than a certain number, or greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, between, or not between. So we do have some options for restrictions if we were to demand a number as a response. But let's go ahead and turn off restrictions. And let's go back to that rating question. So a ratings question is great if you are creating a survey for, let's say, student reflection. You could give the students the opportunity to rate themselves with regards to a certain topic or area of focus. So for example, if we're talking about digital footprints, I might ask the students to rate how positive they believe their digital footprint currently is. Notice that I can change the levels. I can select anywhere from 2 to 10 stars. Let's go back to 5. And notice that I can even change the symbol. So right now it's set to 5 stars. I could change that to a number between 1 and 5. Now I'm going to set it to number because in my question, in my prompt, I said on a scale of 1 to 5, rate how positive you believe your digital footprint currently is. Now, if you're building a solid survey, I would highly recommend to follow up a rating question with a text-based question, preferably a long answer, in which they can describe why they rated themselves as they did, and they can then provide an example or evidence to support their position. So remember, as you continue to build your form and insert content, it is helpful to frequently check the preview of your form. Just simply come up to the top black ribbon and click on preview. And now you will be able to view the form as your students will see the form in a computer view as well as a mobile view. You can even test out your form. And once you've answered all the questions, you can hit submit. In our next video, we'll take a look at how you can add different question types to a quiz, and we'll look at the grading features in a quiz, as well as how we can add other types of content, such as multimedia, including images and videos, to enhance your assessment.